The stars outside the small ship window looked peaceful, like tiny lanterns floating in an endless black sky. Lieutenant Mira Solon sat alone in the dark control room of the scout vessel Lumen Ray, her chin resting in her hand. Her eyes weren't focused on the stars, they were looking back into her memories. She missed him. It had been 2 years since Captain Elias Reed left. He wasn't just her captain. He had been her closest friend, the one who always believed in her when others didn't. He had moved to another fleet station far away, reassigned without warning. After that, they had slowly lost contact. Messages became short, and they stopped. Mira thought they would always be a team. She thought they would rise through the ranks together, explore the stars side by side. But the galaxy had other plans. And now she felt like a forgotten piece of someone else's past. She sighed and turned back to her console. The ship was assigned to deep space mapping, quiet, lonely work that no one else wanted. But Mira liked silence. It matched how she felt inside. Suddenly, a soft beep pulled her from her thoughts. A signal had appeared on the outer scan range. Strange. This region was supposed to be empty. Curious, she leaned forward and activated the recorder. The signal was weak, barely a whisper. But it was real. She adjusted the sensors. The transmission was old, using an encryption only Earth's forces used, and it had Elias's signature embedded in it. Her breath caught. "No," she whispered. "It can't be." The message wasn't direct communication. It was like an old beacon, sending out a small pulse every few hours. A breadcrumb, a call for help, or maybe just a memory. Myra's fingers hovered above the controls. She wanted to send a message back, but what would she say? What if it wasn't meant for her? Still, she couldn't ignore it. She downloaded the signal and traced its source. The signal was coming from a region known as Sector 12 Gamma. That area had been sealed off after the war. No official missions had gone there since. But now, she sat back in her chair, staring at the map. Her heart felt heavy. For 2 years, she had felt like her connection with Elias had disappeared like space dust. And now here was a sign. A small one, but a sign. She remembered something Elias once told her. If we ever get lost, Mira, don't give up. Even the faintest signal can lead you home. Mira closed her eyes. That was HFY humanity's spirit. Even in silence, in loneliness, they kept going. They searched. They hoped. They believed that distance didn't erase care. And she still cared. She opened a private log and started to speak. "Elias," she said softly, her voice shaky. "I don't know if you'll hear this. Maybe this message will float through space and never find you. But I heard your signal. I'm tracing it, and I'm not giving up." She paused, wiping her eyes. "You once said stars may fade, but the people we love don't. I didn't understand. That then, I do now." She finished the recording and attached her location code. She pressed send. Outside her ship, the stars kept shining, silent. Waiting, Mira programmed the autopilot towards Sector 12 Gamma. She didn't know if she'd find him. But she knew one thing for sure: she wouldn't let distance keep her heart quiet anymore. Somewhere out there, a connection still flickered, and Mira was going to find it. Scout ship Lumen Ray moved quietly through deep space. Inside, Lieutenant Mira Solon sat at the front window, watching the stars stretch into long lines as the ship entered hyperspace. Her heart felt just as stretched, pulled between hope and doubt. It had been 3 days since she found the signal. 3 days since she sent her message into the void, hoping Elias would somehow hear it, but there had been no reply. Mira checked her inbox again, even though she knew there was nothing. It was always empty these days. The last time Elias wrote her anything personal had been over a year ago. "Stay strong out there," he had said. "We'll cross paths again." But they never had. Now she was flying toward a place no one talked about: Sector 12 Gamma. It was marked as abandoned, a dead zone from the last war. Most people stayed away from it. But if Elias had left that signal there, it meant something. It meant he had been alive, and maybe still was. She leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. Her memories floated in like soft shadows. She remembered the day they met two rookies at the academy, always competing, always teasing. He once got in trouble for helping her pass a physics exam by sneaking her notes under the desk. She never forgot the look on his face when he got caught. Just a big grin. "Worth it," he had whispered. She missed that grin. She missed the way he listened. The way he made her believe she could be more, but now she was alone. Myra stood up and walked to the back of the ship. She passed the engineering room, the empty galley, the quiet sleeping quarters. It was a small ship made for short missions, not long journeys. But it felt just right, small enough to hold her thoughts, quiet enough to hear her heart. She opened a drawer near her bed and pulled out a small object, a silver keychain with a tiny engraved star. Elias had given it to her the day he got reassigned. "Something to remember me by," he'd said. She had smiled back then, pretending to be strong. But the moment he left, she cried alone in her room. Now she held the star in her hand and whispered, "I didn't forget. I just didn't know how to reach you." Her words faded into the quiet hum of the ship. She wished the universe could speak back. The next morning, ship dropped out of hyperspace near the edge of Sector 12 Gamma. Myra sat at the control panel, her hands shaking just a little. The system ahead looked broken. Dead satellites, floating debris, and cold planets with no signs of life. Still, the signal was there, faint but real. She took a breath and followed it. Hours passed as she weaved between asteroid fields and ancient wrecks. The trail was old and messy, like it had been bouncing off rock and metal for years. But finally, she saw a small station floating alone above a gray moon. It looked abandoned. Its lights were off. No ships nearby, but the signal was coming from inside. Mira hovered her ship nearby and activated the external speakers. "This is Lieutenant Mira Solon of Earth's Scout Fleet. I received your beacon. Please respond." Nothing. She tried again. Silence. She checked the scans. No life forms. But the beacon was still active. Mira hesitated. Her training said never to enter dead stations alone. Too dangerous. But her heart whispered something else. What if he was in there? She grabbed her light armor, sealed her helmet, and took the shuttle pod over. As she floated through the empty docking bay, her boots touched the cold floor of the forgotten station. It smelled like metal and dust. Lights flickered above. She walked slowly, her voice shaking as she said, "Elias. If you're here, it's me, Mira." A door opened ahead. Only a broken control panel blinked inside. On the wall, someone had written in black marker, "Hope survives. We always find a way." Her eyes filled with tears. Those were Elias's words. He had written that. Maybe not for her, but it was a message. Sign. He had been here. Maybe he still was. Somewhere Mira sat on the floor of the station, staring at the writing. She wasn't alone in her feelings anymore. Someone else had believed, had held on. And that gave her strength. HFY wasn't just about strength in battle. It was about hope in silence. It was about holding on when there's nothing left but belief. It was about reaching across Starshaven when you didn't know how, she whispered. "It's still looking, Elias, and I won't stop." And the stars, waiting outside the station, seemed to whisper back, "Keep going." The wind howled across the icy plains of Titan Station, and Aaron pulled his coat tighter. His boots crunched through the snow-covered platform as he walked alone toward the outpost's edge. The sky was dark purple, filled with frozen clouds and distant stars. Everything around him felt cold, not just the air. But inside his heart, too, Kara had once walked beside him on this very path. They had been the best of friends. Engineers working together to repair Titan Station's ancient systems. They laughed while fixing power cores, made bets over who could solve puzzles faster, and stayed up late talking about what Earth might be like now. But that was before Kara was chosen for the Jupiter research fleet. She had hugged Aaron tightly the day she left. "I'll write to you every chance I get," she had said with a brave smile. Aaron smiled back, pretending to be happy for her. But as the transport ship rose and disappeared into the clouds, something inside him felt like it was leaving too. Weeks passed. Then months. Kara sent one message. Then nothing. Now, over a year later, Aaron still came out to this platform every few days. He stared at the sky, hoping to see a ship, hoping to hear her voice again. But all he ever got was silence. He sat down on a bench, snow already gathering on his shoulders. From his coat pocket, he pulled out a small music chip. It was the one. Kara had given him a song they had always listened to while working a soft piano, a tune that reminded them of home. He played it. The melody floated gently through the cold air, wrapping around him like a blanket of memory. "I wish I could talk to you," Aaron whispered. "I don't know if you forgot about me, or if you're just too far, but I still care." He looked up at the sky again. "Do you still care too?" That night, Aaron couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in his bunk, his thoughts full of memories and unanswered questions. Then an idea came. Titan Station had an old communications dish rusty, broken, unused for years. Everyone said it was beyond repair. But what if it wasn't? If he could fix it? What if he could send a message? Not through normal channels, but directly to the far edge of Jupiter's moons. He got up before sunrise. The station lights flickered as he grabbed his tools and made his way to the dish. It was covered in snow and ice, rusted panels, frozen joints, wires tangled and broken, but Aaron didn't care. He rolled up his sleeves and started working. Hour by hour, he repaired the circuits. He rewired the signal coils. He melted ice with a heat torch and cleaned the gears with care. Every wire he fixed, every bolt he tightened. Felt like he was getting closer to her. He didn't know if it would work, but it was worth trying. By nightfall, the dish groaned and tilted upward for the first time in years. He connected it to his console and opened the frequency. He took a deep breath, then typed, Kara. It's Aaron. I don't know if you'll hear this. I don't even know if you're... Okay, but I fixed the dish. I'm sending this message to where I think your fleet might be. I miss you. I miss our talks, our music. You once told me humans never give up. I haven't. I just wanted you to know. I'm still here. Still hoping. He hit send. The message disappeared into the sky. He sat in silence, listening to the wind. 3 days passed. No reply then. On the fourth morning, while he was checking the solar panels, his CUM device buzzed. Incoming message source. Jupiter Research Fleet. Aaron's hands shook as he opened the message. Aaron, I got your signal. I cried when I heard your voice. I'm sorry for the silence. We weren't allowed to send personal messages, but I never stopped thinking about you. Every time I looked at Jupiter, I thought about Titan, about us. Coming back in 3 weeks? Wait for me. Kara Terrace filled his eyes. He dropped his tools and laughed out loud, sound echoing over the icy fields. She hadn't forgotten. She still cared. Aaron looked up at the sky and smiled. Even in the coldest place, even across the galaxy, hope had found a way. That was humanity. They fall, they miss. They ache, but they never stop reaching out. HFY. Asterisk on the outer edge of Earth's rebuilt biosphere dome. Leaf knelt beside a small tree. The soil was warm beneath his gloves, and soft green leaves danced gently in the filtered air. The garden was quiet, filled with the scent of growth and rain mist. Yet Leaf felt alone. This was Ava's tree. She had planted it the day before she left for the Off-World Academy. They had been childhood friends, growing up in the underground shelters, sharing light during blackouts, sneaking snacks from storage, and imagining the stars beyond Earth's poisoned sky. When Earth finally healed enough to open the skies again, Ava was one of the first chosen to study alien languages off-world. She wanted to help Earth speak to the stars to find allies. To build peace. I'll be back, she had whispered as she hugged him tightly. Take care of my tree. And then she was gone. That was nearly 2 years ago. At first, messages came every few weeks, short, sweet ones, jokes about her strange alien teachers, notes about the colorful moons. But then the station she lived. Unmoved beyond the relay range, there was no signal, no contact. Leaf kept caring for the tree anyway. Every morning before work, he watered it. Every night, he sat beside it for a few minutes, whispering his thoughts like she used to. He knew it was silly. But somehow, the tree was the only place where he still felt close to her. Sometimes, he dreamed she would walk back into the garden, smiling, laughing, telling him she had finally returned. But every day, the garden stayed quiet. One afternoon, after a long shift repairing habitat vents, Leaf found himself back by the tree. The sun lamps above glowed soft yellow. He sat on the bench Ava once built from scrap metal and driftwood. He missed her laugh. He missed her stories. He missed the way she always believed in people even when no one else did. "I wish I knew how to reach you," he said softly, even just to say hi. Behind him, the garden drones hummed. They watered the flowers, trimmed vines checked. Soil moisture. It was peaceful, but lonely. Then Leaf had an idea. The drones had communication units, simple ones, mostly used to log reports. But if he rewired one, maybe it could send a longer message. Maybe he could attach it to the dome's weather balloon. It was a long shot, but it was something that night. He worked quietly in his room. He opened the drone's panel and connected a voice chip, and he recorded a message. "Ava, it's Leaf. I'm still here, still waiting, still taking care of your tree. Earth's getting better every day, and I know. Wherever you are, you're still helping people. But if you ever hear this, come visit. Miss you." He uploaded the file, programmed it to broadcast on a rotating loop, and sealed the unit. The next morning, just before sunrise, he climbed to the top of the dome and released the weather balloon. It floated up slowly, carrying the drone high into the sky, higher and higher, until it disappeared from view. He stood there a long time. He didn't expect a reply. He just wanted to try. That was what humans did, after all. He kept trying. Weeks passed. Leaf kept working, kept visiting the tree. He didn't talk as much now. But inside, something felt different, like he'd finally spoken the words he was holding inside for so long. Then, one quiet evening, signal alert flashed on the garden screen. Message received, source. Galactic Academy Relay 7 Leaf. Froze. He tapped the screen with trembling hands. A soft video opened. Ava's face appeared. Her hair was longer now, her eyes tired but warm. "Leaf, found me. I don't know how, but you did. I got your message. I cried when I heard your voice. I've missed you more than I can say. Station moved back into range last weekend. Your signal was the first thing I heard. I'm coming home next month for good." She smiled, and her voice cracked a little. "Is my tree still alive?" Leaf laughed, tears in his eyes. "She's waiting for you," he whispered, as the stars began to rise above the garden dome. Leaf sat down beneath the tree. He rested his hand on the bark. Warm and alive, Earth was healing. So were its people. And even though the galaxy had once believed, they were gone. Humanity was still here, still growing, still loving, still reaching through silence to say, "I'm still with you." That was their strength. That was their hope. Alina sat in the corner of the orbital library, staring at her datapad. Around her, people whispered quietly, flipping through digital archives and scanning old space maps. The soft hum of power cores filled the room, but Alina barely noticed it anymore. She opened the last message she received from her older sister. "Mari, it was dated 11 months ago. They picked me, Lena. I'm going to be part of the first cultural bridge team to the Indari system. I'll send you updates as soon as I can. Take care of Mom, okay? Love you forever." Lena touched the screen gently, as if she could feel Mari's hand through the glass. Her sister had always been her hero kind, brave, full of energy. She had taught Alina how to pilot small ships, how to make space tea, and how to laugh even when Earth felt broken. Then Mari left, far beyond the solar system, on a peaceful mission, a human ambassador of kindness. At first, messages came every week, then every month, in silence. Alina sent over 20 messages since then, but none returned. She didn't know if the signals were blocked, delayed, or simply lost in the blackness between stars. Each day she waited. Each day nothing came. Some people told her to let go, that Mari had probably made a new life, that she was too far away now, but Elena couldn't believe that. Her sister wouldn't forget her. She walked out of the library and headed toward the observation deck. Saturn floated outside the giant windows, its rings shining gently. Elena sat on the floor and hugged her knees. "I miss you, Mari," she whispered. "I wish I knew how to find you." She stayed like that for a long time, watching, thinking. Then, slowly, an idea began to form. Mari once told her, if words can't reach someone, send something else. Music, a signal, story, just something from the heart. Lena stood up quickly and rushed back to the communication. She knew what to do. She had studied signal wave harmonics at the station. She knew how to shape patterns, adjust frequencies, and ride space noise like a current. If text wasn't working, maybe music would. She found an old song Mari loved, a soft piano piece they used to hum together during hard times. Lena converted it into a signal stream. Each note turned into a unique data pulse. Then she added her voice. "Hi, Mari, this is Elena. I don't know if you can hear me, but I made this for you. I remember your song. I remember you. I hope you remember me too. I miss you." She bundled the song and her message into a clean signal and broadcast it through the long-range tower. Then she waited. 3 days passed. Then, a week, no response. Still, every day she played the signal again. And every night, she sat by the window, whispering the song to the stars. Then, one evening, the console in her room blinked. "Incoming transmission, partial signal." Elena jumped from her chair and rushed to the screen. The message was corrupted. Static filled most of the file. But at the end, just 5 clear notes of music played. Their song, and then a soft voice, still humming. "Always with you." Elena pressed her hands to her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Mari had heard her. She had answered across light years, through storms of radiation. Past alien systems and broken relays, her sister had heard her music and sent it back. It wasn't a full conversation, not yet, but it was enough. It was proof that even across the deepest dark, love could travel. Elena didn't know when Mari would be able to write again, but she would keep singing. Keep sending little bits of home across the sky, because humans weren't just explorers or inventors. They were connectors. They found ways to reach each other when all seemed lost. They turned silence into melody, distance into hope. And in that hope, they became something greater than anyone expected. That's what made them unstoppable. Ravi walked slowly through the long corridor of the Orbital Academy, his footsteps soft on the metal floor. Around him, cadets laughed and talked in groups, carrying datapads, wearing bright uniforms. The academy buzzed with energy. But Ravi felt none of it. His mind was far away in Titan. That's where his childhood friend Layla had gone 6 months ago. They had grown up together in one of Earth's mountain shelters after the last surface storms. Layla was always the brave one. She jumped into rivers, raced through tunnels, and dreamed of becoming a navigator in the war fleet. More quiet, the kind who liked building radios and watching stars through his little telescope, but they fit together, like 2 stars in the same orbit. And then one day, she was gone. Layla got accepted into Titan Station's exploration school. She cried when she hugged him goodbye. "Don't forget me, okay? We'll meet in space someday." We had smiled. "I'll find you again, I promise." At first, she messaged every week. Videos of Saturn's rings, her new room, her classmates. She said she missed his cooking and told him to send pictures of his radio projects. But then the messages slowed. First one a month, then none at all. Ravi sent message after message. No answer. Had she changed? Was she too busy? Or had she forgotten? Now, Ravi sat alone most evenings, fixing old devices in the Academy Tech Lab. He didn't talk much. People said he was brilliant, but he didn't care about praise. He just wanted one thing, one reply. One sign that Layla still remembered him. One evening, he opened an old wooden box where he kept small things, a photo of them at age 10, a paper star she folded for him once, and a tiny music chip. The music chip held a song he had written for her, a soft melody with notes that reminded him of her laughter. He hadn't played it in months. He turned it on. The gentle sound filled the room, and for a moment he felt warm again. The ache in his chest softened. Then an idea came to him. What if words weren't enough? Maybe the network was blocked. Maybe messages were filtered. But music. Music could slip through channels, echo through systems, hide in static. He rushed to the Academy's signal tower, using his special access. He rewired a sideband of the fleet's long-range transmission channel. It wasn't illegal, just never used. He uploaded the melody and added a note. Layla, if you hear this, remember who wrote it. I'm still here, still waiting, still your friend, always. He hit send. For a moment, nothing happened, but Ravi didn't feel hopeless. For the first time in months, he felt light. He returned to the lab and began building a stronger beacon, one that could repeat the signal every day, quietly, without needing full access. Weeks passed, no reply. Still, Ravi kept sending the song. Every day. Over and over. Then, one morning, he walked into the lab and saw a small light blinking on his datapad. Incoming data stream ENCRYPTE's heart jumped. He opened it at first. It's just static, then dash music. His music played back, but with something new. A harmony. A second voice added to the tune. Carefully done. Beautiful. And then Layla's voice. Ravi, I heard your song. I never stopped listening. I just couldn't find a way to answer. My station blocks outbound signals. I had to hide this inside a routine scan burst, but I'm still here, still your friend, and I'll never forget you. Ravi didn't move for a full minute. He just stared, smiling. Tears in his eyes, she remembered. She cared across the vast cold of space. She had reached back because he didn't give up. He replied quickly, sending a new version of the song with his voice layered in. He wrote, "We'll keep building this song one piece at a time until we meet again." And they did. Each week a new message came, a new harmony, a drawing, a shared dream. They couldn't touch hands, but they built something even stronger, connection made of memory, music, and human hope. Because humans don't let go. They reach, even in silence. They build, even in sorrow. They hope, even when the stars are far. And that's why the galaxy would never forget Earth again. Leo sat near the back of the cargo bay, legs crossed, back resting against a cold crate. The humming of the engines echoed through the room, steady like a heartbeat. His eyes were on his old sketchpad, though the pencil hadn't moved in a while. He missed Ayla. They had worked together for 2 years on Earth's orbital shipyard. Ayla was a design genius, sharp, funny, and full of energy. She used to sit beside Leo during long nights, helping him sketch new armor designs or drinking tea when the heat system failed. They weren't just co-workers. They had become something more. At least that's what Leo thought. Then one day, without warning, Ayla was transferred. She had been selected for the Mars expansion mission. High honors, new life, new station. And just like that, she was gone. They exchanged a few short messages. He sent her a photo of his new ship. She replied with a video of the red Martian sky. But the distance grew. Over the last month, she stopped replying. Leo didn't blame her. Life on Mars was busy, dangerous even. But he still felt the silence like a weight in his chest. Every corner of this ship reminded him of her. The loose floor panel they used to fix together, the paint she smudged on. His sleeve by accident, tiny star-shaped sticker she'd put on the inside of his locker door. He hadn't removed it, not once. He looked down at the sketchpad. It was a half-finished drawing of a new ship, a hybrid design they once dreamed about, light enough for fast travel, strong enough to hold life for years. Allah called it the Wish Runner. He wanted to finish it, but he didn't know how. Not without her. Leo sighed, closed the pad, and stood up. Outside the bay window, stars passed slowly. Somewhere out there, Ayla was walking under a new sky. Maybe she had forgotten their old plans. New dreams, without him. He walked to the comms panel and checked the signal board again. Nothing new. No reply. He stared at the blinking cursor for a long moment. Then he typed a short message. Still sketching the wish runner. Still thinking about that blue nebula we wanted to chase. Hope you're okay, Allah. He didn't send it. His finger hovered over the button. Then he sighed and turned off the screen. What was the point? He turned to leave, just as the screen flashed. Incoming message. Mars Station Sigma. Leo spun back around and opened it. The screen lit up. It was a drawing, hand-drawn, scanned. The wish runner, completed, signed. From the other half of the plan, still thinking of you too, A. Leo stared, his breath caught. Then another line appeared. I wanted to write sooner, but things got hard. Dust storms broke and comes, and I was afraid that maybe you'd moved on. But I see you didn't. And neither did I, Leo. Slowly smiled, eyes wet. She remembered. She cared. She was still out there, still part of the same dream. He quickly opened his pad and began drawing again, heart racing. He sketched 2 versions of the ship, now one, with Earth's moon behind it, one with Mars, side by side. Together. He sent it back with a message. Let's meet at the nebula. One day, in the real wish runner. Waited. The reply was fast. It's a date. Leo leaned back in his chair, the engines humming gently below his feet. The stars outside didn't feel so far anymore. Because when humans feel lost, they don't give up. They build bridges. They hold on. Sketch ships that carry love across systems. And in that simple hope, they carry the spirit of Earth strong, loyal, and shining. Always Leo sat on the upper deck of the orbital science platform, his eyes following the stars through the wide glass dome. The lights of Earth glowed quietly below him, but he didn't look down. He looked outward, searching the darkness, thinking of her. Syrah had always wanted to explore. She dreamed of distant planets, of alien gardens, of walking under strange suns. When they were kids on the surface of old Earth, they had built model rockets together and made maps of imaginary systems. She was fire, always moving, always dreaming. Leo was quieter. He liked fixing things. He listened more than he spoke. But he had always followed Syrah's light. When they joined the fleet together, he had thought they would never be apart. Then she was chosen for a special mission, a deep jump into uncharted space. A fleet of exploration ships had gone beyond known systems, guided by ancient Earth signals and curiosity. She had hugged him tight. "I'll come back with stories," she whispered, and then she was gone. He hadn't heard from her in over a year. The deep space probes sometimes sent fragments from the edge of the galaxy, data pings, static echoes, flashes of light, but nothing from Syrah. Leo kept checking. He ran scans after every shift. He adjusted dish positions, watched the patterns in the stars. But there was only silence. He missed her laugh. He missed the way she tapped her fingers when thinking. He missed the way she made the coldest space feel like home. And every day, that distance grew heavier on his heart. One night, Leo sat with a broken transmitter on his desk. He wasn't on duty, but he needed to do something with his hands. He twisted wires, soldered circuits, and stared at the blank monitor. Then he remembered something from years ago, signal Syrah once made for him. It wasn't words. It was a series of pulses and tones, like a song only they understood. She had built it into a pocket device, and it used to play whenever he was sad. He still had the code saved. He stood up and went to the comm tower. He connected the signal booster and uploaded the sound pattern. Then, instead of sending it once, he programmed it to repeat once every 6 hours across multiple frequencies. The message was simple. It said, "I remember. I'm waiting. You are not forgotten." He didn't know if she would hear it. He didn't know if she was still out there. But he hoped. Hope was all he had left. A week passed. Leo still worked. He fixed solar panels, calibrated data scanners, helped a student group build a water recycler. But every spare minute, he returned to the cum logs. Nothing. Then, one. Early morning, just before sunrise, something changed. A signal pinged on the deep space relay. It was faint, almost hidden in background radiation. But Leo recognized the rhythm. It was his signal, and it was being answered. He quickly ran a decrypt. The message was broken, scattered. Weak, but inside it were 3 clear tones. Then 5. Then a final burst of light data. He stared. The tones matched the pattern Sierra had once used. He sat back in his chair and smiled, tears filling his eyes. She heard him. She was alive. He quickly typed a reply, adding more than just tones this time. Sierra, it's Leo. You reached me. I never stopped trying. Earth is still here. I'm still here. Come back when you can. We'll finish the map. Together, he included there. Old star chart one they had drawn as teens. He added a note. I saved this for you. Then he sent the message again and again, across every channel. A day later, the system blinked again. This time, a full message came through. It was grainy. It cut in and out. But her voice was clear. Leo, I followed your song. I'm safe. So much to tell you. You gave me light when all around me was dark. I'm turning back now. Wait for me. He pressed the screen with both hands, as if he could reach through it. She was coming home. She had been lost in space, but his hope had called her back. Across cold stars and silence, love had spoken louder. And once again, the human spirit had reached farther than anyone believed possible. Because even when the galaxy forgets you exist, Earth remembers, humans endure. And hope, quiet, stubborn, beautiful, always finds a way.